In today's video I'm going to show you how to set up a Rega RB250 tone arm, which will also cover the 251, the RB220, the RB202, all those sort of variants of it. There's a slight difference which I'll sort of point out in a minute. This tone arm is actually quite different to all the other tone arms that Rega make, really, in that it hasn't got any actual calibration at the back here. There's no calibration wheel like you get on RB300s. And there's no calibration actually on the counterweight here, which like you get on some Lin arms and I'm trying to think what else, all ADCs and stuff like that. Usually have a little calibration wheel and you can actually zero stuff. There's none of that, it's just plain. But you can calibrate it, so that's what the video is about. So right, okay, I'll reposition the camera and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, first thing, if you're calibrating a tone arm, you always take off the little cover. If you haven't got a cover, then obviously that's not applicable. But take off the cover because obviously you'd be weighing that, so you want to take that out of the equation. You release that. When normally the tone arm would come without the counterweight on, so you'd basically in this situation you put down the lift. Now this counterweight is actually can be quite difficult to get on, but you can see it's actually threaded, and there are. Inside there's like a little lug in there that sort of latches onto it. So you just sort of give it a bit of a push like that, and it will actually just push on. Like that. Sometimes you can just pick up the thread, but it's easier just to push it because it will actually run on. Okay, so as is now, I've got way too much weight at the back. And it's a bit like you would with an RB300 or any other tone arm. You keep moving it around to find the balance point, which is coming up at some point. Right, somewhere around there. So what you want to do is, as soon as you let go of that end, it can sort of stay roughly at the same height. It will float slightly to the side because the anti-skate sort of bias that I was talking about, there is a little bit of it still sort of acting on the tone arm. Right, so I'd say that's zeroed. Now at this point I'm just going to show you the difference between the older arms and the newer arms. The newer arms don't have this little controller. Now what I forgot to tell you was, when you're setting it on the original 250s, if you've got this control, set it to 0, so you set it right back to 0 there, and that means there's minimal force to the side. There is a little bit, like I say, but minimal force makes it easy to set up. The newer ones have a fixed bias on them, which is set to about 2 grams. So when you set everything, when you're trying to set this to 0, the arm is actually trying to do this all the time. It's trying to come back, which actually I don't totally agree with it on here. I can see it's done for cost reasons and to simplify the setting up, but it actually makes it quite difficult to find the 0 point because it's constantly moving. If you're not used to it, it makes it a bit of a pain. So the later arms, you do the same thing, but you'll just have to be a bit more sort of on the ball, checking that everything's still. So I'd say that's now floating. Now what you need to do, if you noticed on here there's a little lug there and there's an equivalent lug 180 degrees at the other side. Now on these tone arms, a complete turn is 2 grams. So if you go from lug to lug, so that's a half a turn, that's 1 gram. So we've now got 1 gram at that end. And if you do another complete turn, that's now 2 grams. Now this is an an AT VM95EN. That's the elliptical nude version of the VM95. I like to track these about 1.8, so you just back off slightly. If you back off to about there, that's roughly 1.8-ish. It's all very sort of imprecise in a way, but it's kind of good enough. It sort of works. It works very well. So once you've done that, once you've got your 1.8 on there, you just move on the older arms. You then move your little bias control up to about the same. Don't get too hung up on bias stroke anti-skate because it is a subtle force, and whatever you read on forums, no, it's not going to happen. I actually there was a guy on one of the forums the other day. It was actually saying that if you get this wrong, you will bend your stylus. No, you don't. It's just not going to happen. You'd need this can put up to 2.5 grams of side force. To actually damage a stylus, you probably need 30-40 grams. I don't know. So it's nonsense. You just have to just use your brain really when you listen to these things, because it's just some mad stuff spoken. Anyway, so now we've got 1.8 grams here, 1.8 on the escape bias, all set. You're ready to go. And always, when you finish, put your cover back on. And there you go. This video is brought to you by Cheshire Audio. We're in Crewe in Cheshire. If you need any help with your Rega turntables, just give us a call. We do make cups of coffee, nice cups of coffee, cups of tea if you're so inclined. Actually this one needs filling and we'll sort that out soon. Give us a call. See you soon. Thank you very much.